Big fluff.
And spanning over 5 acres of productive grapevines here in the foothills of the Cascade Mountains, Icicle Ridge is no stranger to snow as they get over 90 inches of snow per year. I mean, look at this. It's magical.
Well, I guess that's one thing we can scratch from Santa's wish list. You know what I'm wishing for here?
What are you wishing for?
A flight inside from the freeze. Flight of wine, that is.
Oh, guess Drake Kincaid has jokes now.
I have my moments.
Cut. Well, that was a tree topper on my Christmas tree. Let's drink. Yes, cheers.
Good job.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joel Murphy.
And I'm Andy McIntyre.
And this is Silver Linings Playback, the podcast where we watch maligned movies and we find their silver linings.
And it's the Christmas season, and it is the third Monday in December, and we have a special guest with us to talk about the movie Cloudy with a Chance of Christmas. Nicole Bilderback, welcome to the show, Nicole.
Hello.
I think we have two special guests because we also have Maverick, who is squeaking in the background.
In the background,
yeah.
With the squeaky toy. He's 2. So, and of course, why does this always happen right before you start a Zoom or right before you start like a podcast interview or an audition or never fails.
It's always the way.
No, they know. They are for sure.
They totally know.
Yeah.
They totally know. You know, when they see the light in the computer and the earbuds, they're like, oh, now's the time to squeak the toys. Yeah.
Well, they know if you get cast, that's less mom time.
That's true. That's true. But if I don't get cast, then I can't feed them. So
but they don't know that. They don't have that level of cause and effect.
You're right. They don't. You're so right.
They know that when mom goes on these Zooms, she disappears for a few days, and that's all. And then there's food, and that's it.
And that's all they care about. Yeah.
Yep.
Has it happened to you though? Like for auditions, has there been a big audition that was sidetracked, or is...
Not because of my dog, thankfully. Not because of my dog, thankfully. Usually, what I've done is I'll give him like a little bully stick or a treat that'll keep him occupied, or put him in another room. But I've been pretty lucky, thank God. Until now.
Do you get to take him with you, like on sets? Like, does he get to hang around?
Yeah, I have before. He's actually, he's great. I mean, he's just his happiest if he's in the middle of the action. He just wants to be where all the people are. And he's a total dog and human person. Wherever the people and the dogs are, he's happy and content.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing the show. We're very excited to have you on. And we have a lot of things that we want to ask you about this movie, obviously, but Andy and I are usually very focused on the show, but we have you here, and we might be a little distracted because, like, I don't know when I'm going to have the opportunity to talk to you again. So I do have a couple other questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
At the beginning, and this one has been bugging me for a while. Were you stealing a lawn ornament in Clueless when you were getting into your car?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, I was. And I was so good that it was still lit up while I was trying to put it in my Jeep. Yeah. That's talent, guys. That's talent.
No, that is skill.
Was that in the script, or was that just like on the day? Like, where did that come from? Because I watched that movie a few times without ever noticing that's happening in the background.
It's, what's funny is for whatever reasons, when the movie came out, like people went nuts because like Clueless ended up being kind of this surprise sleeper cult hit, right? And but you'd be surprised at how many people were like, that snowman's lit up. It's lit up. Is that possible? Can you steal a snowman? I mean, they loved it. They weren't causing any, controversy about it, but it is actually funny because if you think about it, of course, Beverly Hills girls that are at a party in the Valley, if you're going to steal, holiday lawn ornaments from the yard, of course they're going to be lit up, right? But I think in actuality, if I remember correctly, when we were shooting that, I believe they just wanted the snowman to be noticeable. And therefore, because we did shoot it at nighttime. So they just wanted the snowman to be noticeable. And so they had the crew put lights inside of it so that it would actually be lit up.
Nice.
Which kind of makes it funnier, you know?
No, it's great. And then there's that great shot of Brittany Murphy, like in your passenger seat with it just lit up as the car is pulling away.
And she's just sitting there and she just waves as we.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, I crossed that one off of.
No, that's very important.
I was also curious because as I was, preparing for you to be on the show and I was like thinking about your career, I did go back and watch Bring It On again and was blown away by the fact that it was directed by Peyton Reed, who did all the like Ant-Man movies. Like, I never realized that.
Yeah. Bring It On. Again, another movie that was such a surprise blockbuster hit. None of us actually thought, it's not that, I mean, we were all super excited to do the movie, but we were all also so young. And, back then there'd never been a movie like it before. So like, we're just happy that we were getting paid and working actors. And then when it, came out, it was like, oh my gosh, this is actually a huge deal. We're number one at the box office for like 3 weeks straight. And, but when we were shooting it, we're like, y'all, we're doing a movie about cheerleading, and then it came out and we're like, yeah, we did a movie about cheerleading, yo.
I do think it was a cultural moment of, I think it made people appreciate, because I definitely had that of, I don't know, like you do kind of think of it like at the time it was like, I don't know, cheerleading is a thing that happens at football games too. Like, oh, this is like, I feel like that rise of ESPN coverage of cheerleading and all that. I feel like that's tied to your movie. I'm going to give you credit for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. I was actually a cheerleader in real life growing up. I was also a dancer. So like, when we were doing the movie, we had to actually go through pretty excruciating training. We called it we had cheer boot camp. And so, that went on every single day for 5 days a week for 4 weeks straight before we even started principal photography. Because we had to learn all the routines and, learn all the stunts because all of us did all our own stunts. And so that was pretty intense actually. And of course, I already appreciated cheerleading because I already knew the athleticism that went into it, but not to this level. I was young and the rules changed, throughout the years. And so we had actual real professional cheerleaders or NCAA cheerleaders that came in and were a part of our team. They were doing the big dangerous stuff that this, studio would never let us do. But yeah, so it's a real deal. I mean, and come on, guys, be honest. When you're on ESPN, you stop and you watch the cheerleading competition.
No, for sure.
It's true.
They're crazy. They're insane.
Yeah. How much do you think, how much of the routine is still in your head? Like if you had to?
Oh, goodness gracious. A couple of years ago, Claire Kramer, who plays Courtney, her and I did an interview together and literally we were put on the spot. We're not given a heads up about it. We were put on the spot and they were recording us and they actually prompted the scene up in front of us. And they asked us we're going to start the scene for you. You guys have to complete it.
Oh, wow.
And both of us were like, huh? I mean, this was over 20 years ago. So we did just the words we did okay. We weren't spot on, but we did okay. But in terms of, oh my gosh, the routine, I might have a few highlights, but yeah.
Yeah.
There are enough people that have that routine memorized that you're off the hook, I think, that have committed those things to memory about the photos being in the atmosphere and all that. So I think you're fine.
Anytime it is cold outside, no matter where I'm at, somebody, brr, and then somebody else goes, it's cold in here. I'm like, oh no, here we go.
Is that the
one?
It
never escapes you.
Is that the one you get the most of your career, or what do you normally?
Yeah, Bring It On for sure. Clueless quite a bit. That's probably the second one, and then I think there's some other TV stuff that certainly pops up quite a bit. But yeah, Bring It On and Clueless are probably the main ones for sure.
All right, Andy, did you have any pressing?
I mean, I just wanted to know what someone did to you to make you so sad, a la Seth Green from Can't Hardly Wait.
Seth Green's so great, by the way. He's so great.
Oh, he seems it.
Yeah. I remember when we were shooting that scene and I mean, God, it was so much fun. I mean, that was a movie where they literally put all of young Hollywood at the time and just threw us into one movie. And the movie was originally called The Party. So, and that's really what it was, is we all just showed up and just had this big fun party, and all of us knew each other, and it was just, oh God, it was so much fun. And I really did cry. Those were real tears every take.
No, I think your like shrug when it was like, all right, I guess, is like really completes that gag, because like, of course,
they're like, oh, he'll do.
Just that knowing Lance with your girlfriend, like, yeah, just that really landed the joke, and it was amazing. So,
oh yeah, it was so fun to do.
And then you're saved by a faulty bathroom lock ultimately in that.
right. And didn't I forget later on or something, or didn't I hook up with somebody else? I don't even know.
I think
what
you got
happened.
back together with your boyfriend, I think is what ended up happening.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's so you know what? Getting locked in the bathroom is lost.
I think we've all been to that high school party where we saw somebody make up and break up with their boyfriend multiple times through the course of the night. I teach high school, and I see it every day that kids will be dating and not dating, like almost sometimes through the course of a period. So it's very real.
Well, and especially even, you know, at a party. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Drama happens at a party. I mean,
for sure.
Life altering. He called me what? And then it's the whole, it's a big deal.
Well, I did to tie it on to this movie too, because I had this thought watching it that so I believe husband, right? Your partner in this movie is played by Dean Richmond, who is in Not Another Teen Movie, which is basically a parody of most of these movies that you were in.
That we just talked about.
Yeah.
I was going to say pretty much parody of all the movies I was in the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah.
A lot of Bring It On of like parody in that movie for sure. But yeah, all of that. But I was just curious, did that come up? Did you guys know each other? Did that were there any conversations about that?
We did not know each other. That was the first time that we met. But gosh, what a treat though to get to meet him and work with him. And then playing his wife was just the bonus, you know. But I remember him. Like I remember watching him on the Cosby Show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
The Cosby Show was such a huge deal, and
it was everybody watched it. Yeah.
Oh, everyone and I think was it Thursday night that it came on, or was it?
Sure was.
So it was in the Thursday night lineup. So every Thursday night, my whole family, everyone. So like I recognized him right away, and it was just so cool. And we clicked and hit it off right away. But actually, I think we did on set. There were definitely conversations that, you know, because we were, you know, we're OGs, so we go way back. So it's like we would definitely talk about, just like catch up and just talk about, you know, projects that we've done and who we've worked with, you know, in all of our separate projects. And
I just think him being around all those sparkles, there was a missed opportunity for him to go blang blang.
I know. They missed that. You're right. You're good.
It would have been a wonderful Easter egg for all of us fans of
right. It actually wouldn't be a bad one. Yeah.
It's a Christmas movie, so there's so many sparkles, like by necessity.
So many sparkles. But you know, when it comes to those Lifetime and Hallmark holiday films, there's got to be just all the snow, all the hot chocolate, all the sparkles, all the glitter, and all, you know, whatever else. But but that's what makes it those movies, you know.
Yeah, more cherry red and emerald green than anybody owns in the real world.
Are you sure about that?
Let's say I've very carefully curated my friend group, so I can maybe be biased on this.
All right. Well, I don't know that we've properly set this movie up, so we should at this point maybe actually it is, as you said, this is the classic, and this is why I wanted to do this for the show. Like this is like the deal. This is what you think of when you think of those Hallmark Lifetime Christmas movies, and it's so it's a, you know, they're doing a newscast in Leavenworth, right? Is the
Leavenworth,
town.
Washington,
Leavenworth,
an idyllic
Washington,
Christmas village.
Yeah,
It's,
and
it's literally Christmas Town, USA, is
Right,
what it's known for. Yeah.
yeah, and so they're going there, and there's this sort of rivals, with the romantic connection, and the one newscaster, it's his hometown, and so he's going back there, and he's broadcasting with this this co-host that doesn't like our star, and you are like there trying to essentially wrangle everyone. Is your
The producer work.
yeah.
I'm the boss lady.
Yes,
That's right.
but so that's the movie, and but I'm curious because you kind of alluded to it. This is such a thing, but so like for you as an actor, like set the scene for me for making this movie, because I'm sure it's not December, like it's fake snow. So like, what is the reality of making a movie like this for you? Like how does it work to make one of these Christmas movies?
It's so funny you ask, because so usually the status quo is that these kinds of movies are usually made like in the spring or summer when it's scorching hot and there's fake snow, and actors we're bundled up in these heavy coats and scarves and sweating our balls off, and it can be really uncomfortable. We, however, believe it or not, we actually shot that movie a year before it actually aired. So we actually did shoot it in December. So the December before it was released, in Leavenworth, Washington, where it was like 19 degrees and snow up to like our kneecaps, which I don't think I'd ever been in snow up to my kneecaps, so that was interesting. But the town was stunningly gorgeous. If for those listeners out there who have never been to Leavenworth, Washington, it's literally known, like we said, it's known as Christmas Town, USA. It's a Bavarian town that it's like being at the North Pole, and it is just magical. It truly is magical. But yeah, so we actually, thank God, we were bundled up. Like the reality for us was we were literally freezing. Those jackets that were all a wardrobe that we're wearing was a necessity. And we were just grateful for any scene that was shot inside versus outside, because it was freezing.
So you can't win.
Washington State is beautiful. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you
It is
can't,
gorgeous, yeah.
but you can't win either way, because it's either in the summer and you're pretending to be cold, or you're actually
you're
right?
either channeling the cold or actually
Yeah.
experiencing it. Neither one.
Yeah,
is
it's like when you're too hot, makeup artists have to like pat you down so that you're not sweating. But then when you're too cold, you're trying not to show, too much of your hot breath and that, all the steam that's coming out of your mouth outdoors when you're in the mountains. Oh, it's so hard to be an actor. So hard.
It's about time someone said it.
Yeah.
Like it's about time that we recognize
the abuse we go through. Yeah.
As a high school teacher, I can say, I have it easy from September to June. Like it's nothing. It's a walk in the park. And
Andy's not working during Christmas. You're making Christmas movies a year ahead of time, and Andy's on vacation, sitting at home.
Yeah. I'm lucky if I have a lesson planned 3 days ahead of time, let alone a year.
Oh, God.
So
wait, so what grade do you teach? What
I teach high school history.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. What a time to teach that.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. But no, high school's tough though. High school's tough. High school's tough, because they're at such a wild age. And they're transitioning, and they're also getting antsy, and they want to head off on their own. And it's a tough age.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's like that's why all the high school movies I think are themed about coming of age, because that literally is what the high school years are.
Oh yeah.
And it's like that's why movies like Clueless and Can't Hardly Wait and everything rings so true, because they're relatable. Like even if you weren't the cool cheerleader, you were probably the girl that knew the cool cheerleader, or there's some connection where like
totally.
Like even Not Another Teen Movie that's parodying all of it still felt super real.
Right? I know, right?
Well, also you chose to stay in high school for years after as an actor. Like you continue to live in high school.
Let's clarify that. I did graduate in real life.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Pretend high school, but still high school.
I did. I actually stayed in high school for probably way too long than any person should really stay in high school, but also not complaining because I could still get away with it. I mean, I milked that out for as long as I could because why not? As long as anyone was.
I think Stacey Dash led the charge on that for just holding on to high school. And like, she might still be able to.
She does not age. Like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Like, and she was, I don't even remember how old she was, but she was a lot older when shot Clueless. But I mean, my God, you totally looked it. You never would have questioned it if you didn't know how old she was.
It's not exactly a Luke Perry in 90210 situation where he looked 40.
Oh, Luke Perry.
All right. So
I know, right?
All right, but we established, so you were filming it, like you actually did film during Christmas. Did you get to see the town? Like, do you actually get to experience did you have your own separate adventure separate from this movie while making it?
Well, what was cool about the movie is a lot of the shops and the restaurants and the cafes, where we shot, were actually, I mean, we were literally right. None of those were built sets. It was literally all at those actual shops and cafes. And so when we're shooting at these places, I mean, we're fortunate enough to actually get to experience them as well. So like we would shop around, like even when the reindeers, those were real reindeer, by the way. Those were famous reindeers, actually.
Did you meet Prancer?
Yeah, right. No, I'm not kidding. Like literally one of the reindeer was who was in all those all those like the Santa Claus movie. And I mean, God, they've done literally and there's not that many, I guess, big movies that have reindeer in it, but the ones that do, I kid you not, these reindeers were like far more famous than any of the actors. we're like, they were telling us no eye contact, please. The reindeers are acting like old pros, like this is nothing, or like, girl, get your lines right. You know what I mean?
Like, I hit my mark. I don't know what your problem is.
No, these reindeer, and they were incredible. Oh, it truly, really is surreal to see these huge, beautiful creatures so up close and in person. And we were right there in the middle of it. It was really something special. So like we got to really experience a lot of Leavenworth, actually.
Yeah. So we know the town was real. We know the reindeer was real. I think the question on everybody's mind, were the pastries real?
Oh yeah.
They look amazing.
Oh yeah. I think we all gained a couple pounds after the shoot, but good news is with it being the holidays, you're supposed to. So we were just really doing our jobs as actors.
Yeah,
I mean,
committing.
We're method, like, come on, you got to fully commit. You got to commit to the choices. But yeah, oh God, the food there was actually quite exceptional. I mean, the pastries, especially in, a Bavarian, German town that you're getting a lot of authentic, actual German food. But I mean, it was really, really, and it's such a nice escape away from LA where it's like sunny and beautiful every single day. It's nice to actually experience a season.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
we got to experience a real winter. Which we never get to do. So.
I grew up in Syracuse, New York, a little overrated for the winter, a little bit.
Oh God, I can't let's see how I cringe. I'm like, oh
yeah, that's why I live in Maryland now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where are you guys located right now?
Joel's in LA, and then I'm in Maryland.
Okay, you are in LA.
Yeah. I was where there was snow, and it is you miss the seasons, but then it's like you miss them for a day or something, Yep.
No, it's so true, Joel. Like, is it not? Like, we really are the luckiest. I mean, our weather truly is kind of perfect all year round. I mean, it's.
Yeah,
it can get a little hot in the summers, but again, that's only for like on and off for a couple months, and then it does. Believe it or not, it does actually get cold here in the mornings. Especially right now, the mornings are actually really cold. But come January, right, Joel? Like our mornings and evenings really get frigid, like high 30s, which is really That's universally cold anywhere.
Yeah.
It's universally cold anywhere.
But it's funny too how quickly you adjust to like to living in LA, where it's like I used to be somewhere that there was snow and like had more of a resistance, and it's like you lose that immunity to it immediately. Like once
100%.
Yeah, I've been here since like 2016, and so like now it's as soon as it gets 50 degrees, I'm freezing at this point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm originally I grew up in Dallas, Texas. So you'd think any kind of heat would be nothing to me. Oh no, are you kidding? If it goes above like 80, I'm like, oh, this is disgusting. And if it gets below like 70, it's like, it's freezing. No, but it's so true. Your body. I mean, I've lived in LA for 31 years. So like I'm just screwed no matter where I go. If it's, but yeah, your blood literally adjusts to your environment that you're in, so it's like, if I go home to Texas in the summers, forget about it. If I go home to Texas in the winter, because Dallas actually gets snow and we actually there's really cold winters there. So it's just, we're pretty much just wusses now, Joel. We're just wusses. Welcome to the wuss club. We just can't handle any kind of weather now.
Yeah. I'll take it. It's fine. Seems
a fair trade.
Here's the one that got me too. I mean, maybe, I don't know, Texas, I don't have a good gauge on, but like, I will say moving from the East Coast to the West Coast, the thing, like the people are, you have to get used to people being really nice, and like you kind of lose that like edge of walking around looking like you're going to fight everyone, which you inherently have on the East Coast, where like, I had that when I first moved here, that people would come up to me and they'd start talking to me and I'd be like, what do they want? What is it? Are they going to ask me for money? Like, what is this scam? And now it's like, oh, people just talk to you here. And so that's the other
people
one.
Actually just saying, good morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they mean it.
No,
yeah.
I remember like my wife and I were like just leaving a Target when we first moved here, and a guy just followed us to our car, just asking us about our purchases and just like, oh, you guys are new to LA. That's so great. Like, and just like, and it was like, I kept waiting for there to be another shoe. And I'm like, oh, there's no other shoe. This person's just this nice.
Yeah. I think there's something about it though. Like when you found out, anytime I hear, someone say, oh, they just moved to LA, or, oh, they've lived out here for, a year, 2 years, 5 years. Cause to me, anything under like a decade is still new. So, I always have the same reaction, like, oh, you're a baby. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it as in, oh, they're new to LA. And I think there is, when you've lived here for such a long time, there is sort of a kind of like a protectiveness. So he's probably talking to you as, like where to go, where the fun, good restaurants are, it's a way of kind of like wanting to take care of a newbie to LA.
Well, I've got 2 more years, I guess, to go then until I'm officially. Yeah.
And then people will trust your taco recommendations.
Yeah.
And exactly. Until then, none of your recommendations, no one's going to listen to. Yeah.
No, they shouldn't. No, at all.
And it's fair.
All right. Well, I think this has been the kind of insightful, like look at this movie that people have been hoping for so far. For sure. We've really delved deep, but yeah. So like, do you feel like Christmassy when you make these? Like, does it like, what is it? I'm just trying to get like really feel like, because we all watch these and we know what they're like, and there's a vibe to them in the spirit, but it's like, I don't know, like what does it feel like to make it? Cause you're living in this world for much longer. Like, how is it for you? Like making a Christmas movie like this?
Oh gosh, honestly, I think no matter, I honestly believe all actors, whether male or female, non-binary, it doesn't matter. I think every actor who, no matter how long you've been at it, whether you're a newer actor, whether you're a veteran actor, we all want to do a Christmas movie. Like everyone wants to do a rom-com holiday themed movie. Like we just do. I think it's in our blood. It's just in our, it's in our, our hearts. Like who doesn't? Because let's be honest, guys, like we all want to watch them. We all enjoy watching them. whether it's on the big screen in a movie theater, or whether it's on, on the small screen, on Lifetime or Hallmark or Netflix or whatever, like during this time of season, like it does something to you. Like you just, and that's what Christmas movies, they bring that out, of that feeling that you want to feel during this time. So we use pretend and fantasy land to help fill our actual feelings, in reality when we watch them. So it's very fulfilling and satisfying, I think. I think that's what the appeal is for all these holiday movies is, it's the romanticism. It's the ideal of meeting a random guy on the top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. And it's the love of your life. Like, who doesn't want that? So it's,
I know I do.
Right?
Go ahead.
Do you have, you said this is every actor's dream, but I'm like, you got to do this movie and this movie is great, but I'm like, what's the one that stars you? Like, what is the dream? Like, Nikki Bilderback, like, gets to, like, your dream Christmas movie to be in? Like, are you leaving your city to go to a small town? Like, what is it that you'd love to be in one of these?
Okay, so I'm going to kind of combine that. My dream, I would say kind of like a dream role would be something along the lines of Kill Bill. Okay, bear with me.
Okay.
Bear with me.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm already. You have my money.
Yeah, done.
Yeah,
pitch over. Just take my money.
So, what if there was like Kill Bill, but during the holidays, like it just with the snow, and maybe Uma Thurman's character actually finds love because she deserves to find love because that girl went through hell. We all know it. She was put through hell unfairly. And so what if it was something like that where I can kick ass left and right. And, but then, I actually meet like the love of my life, and hey, it's possible. I don't care. It's possible.
I think that sounds amazing. Like a revenge fantasy with like Christmas movie sprinkles on top. License to print money.
No,
you know what, guys? Let's write it. We're going to do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. No, that's actually why we didn't want to say it. That's why Andy and I got you here, is that we're hoping that we can develop this Kill Bill Christmas movie. No, I love this. Like, because also, she's the bride in that movie. So she's set up as the bride, but she doesn't end up, God
bless. It's so tragic. Like, it's so depressing what happens. It's God awful what they do to her. But yet, and then ultimately she does win in the end, but she gets her daughter, and that's what she wanted. But you know what? Doggone it, the bride deserves happiness. Again, like her husband was murdered, her whole wedding was botched. It's like, why not? Like,
just the idea of the bride character, going on this, roaring and rampaging revenge while keep meet cuting the guy in the red flannel sweater. That like it's like she's about to go, fight the next mini boss, and then she bumps into him. Totally. Her sword goes flying, his papers go flying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, see, this it writes itself.
Well, and I love the idea of still doing the trappings of one of these type of movies. So it's like she's from the big city and she goes to a small town, but that's because that's where her targets are that she's getting revenge on. But then she runs into her old boyfriend, because it's from her hometown, but it's her old boyfriend from when she was a kid who doesn't see
the love
her.
Of her life.
Yeah, who got away, and then she went on this path of becoming the world's greatest assassin, obviously. And
and she's very good at it and very successful, and she can hold her own. But while she is, taking care of her targets, she starts to realize, love is possible, and and so. So either she can, well, no, that's the sequel. I was going to say, maybe it's their then relationship after they're married and happy, and how he adjusts to her career.
Her globetrotting assassin for hire. I think and I know that these movies, they love to capitalize on similar stars. So I think the title's staring us right in the face, and it's Bloody with a Chance of Christmas.
You guys that's genius. That's genius. Done. Sold.
Print it. Just to go back to the movie that we actually watched, Cloudy with a Chance of Christmas. I was shocked at like how good at communicating everyone was in the movie. Like that, like what seemed to be like the inciting event or the bit of conflict between Tatum and Bridget, like was kind of stewing underneath, but then they just had a nice chat and figured it out. And I was like, that doesn't happen ever. Like, that's great.
No, it doesn't. And you know what? It's so funny because like when we as human beings and in our realities, like, you know, life can be tough and it's stressful and it's overwhelming. And communication, like as much as I actually embrace honest communication and transparency, at the same time, let's face it, like, especially when it comes like a love relationship or, you know, even your best friends, like, you know, no, we all want to avoid conflict, right? So, and that's how misunderstandings happen. And that's how disconnects in communication happens. And that's how you have, you know, you have all those dramas and, you know, things that just kind of get by you in these Christmas movies, when all along, had you just had that clear communication from the get-go, then there never would have been a misunderstanding.
Yeah, no, it's just that like the whole movie is kind of dancing around it. And then they literally just at the Christmas party right before she's just like, hey, wait a minute, Tatum, let's put this all out here. It's like, oh, okay.
Right.
We're cool. And it's
totally.
And just because like it's such a trope of Christmas movies to use that like farcical mistaken identity, misunderstanding. You know, like there's that scene where it looks like Drake and Tatum are kissing under the mistletoe, but they're not. And, you know, like all that stuff is like really common. But like this movie is like, no, we're just going to show what some well-adjusted adults do that are professional and trying to get the job done. And they put professional jealousy aside ultimately to have a great Christmas broadcast. And like, it's kind of refreshing in that regard.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a really good point. You're right. I didn't even think about that until you said it. Like, you're right. Like, we don't really see that in these kinds of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Well, because
normally something has to happen or some big disappointment or
some big grand gesture to like make it up to the person or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, a lot of them thrive on like someone mishears something or there's some contrived reason that someone can't tell someone something, you know, like they want to, but yeah, so it is kind of interesting to, a lot of movies would be shorter if the two people just had a clear and honest conversation.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
The brother seems like he's the pot star, but no, he's just like, oh no, you misunderstood me. He had a crush on her, so he didn't actually want to cast her because he was worried about the conflict of interest. And the network wanted her to anchor the late night because that would bring ratings there because she's so talented. Oh, how silly of us to have this little fight. Let's
Well, you guys did do your homework. You guys are good.
Again, Bloody with a Chance of Christmas is already on the tip.
We're doing it, guys. It's on.
I also just, by the way, because we normally too, like we'll find things that like are the silver linings of the movies that we like to talk about. And I did enjoy, I just want to spotlight for you the dancing that you and Deon Richmond had in the background during the scenes. I really enjoy, like, I feel like you guys had a little bit extra than the other couples. Like,
come on. Of course, like
you
can't have him and myself and anyone out there who saw it, who maybe happened to recognize us from our previous work. We had to be the best dancers. I mean, we had to, like, the pressure was kind of on, you know. No, I was actually a trained dancer my entire life, since I was 3 years old. So believe me, I would have loved a whole choreographed sequence. had they would have let me, I would have choreographed a whole solo or a whole group, you know, and put it all together and, you know, and the glitter and all that. But I'm glad. Well, thank you for noticing that, actually.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, no, as soon as, to your point, I think as soon as you both started dancing, of course, then I'm going to be watching to see, like, yeah. Even though
you texted him, didn't you? You were like, they're dancing. Did you see it? They're dancing right now. Did you see that part? Yeah.
I also feel like they tried to put you both in the back because they knew that, like, you're in the back of the shot. And I think, like, we know what's up. Like, they didn't want to, like, put you too foregrounded to, like, kind of steal focus, you know? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, a genuine silver lining for me, you know, obviously, like, had we stumbled across this movie unintentionally, like, seeing you in the movie would have been cool. Like, oh, that's the girl from that. And it's the, you know, from that. But like seeing Deon Richmond, like, I love, like, it was the same thing as like, oh my God, that's Kenny from The Cosby Show and not another teen movie. And then to see him again, like, that made me happy. And, the guy who played Drake's neatly trimmed beard was impeccable. So that was, that's another silver lining. I love a good beard. So I'll throw that in.
You like to love a good
Flawless,
beard. It's so funny because the lead got Brandon, his real name, Drake, the character's name. I used to hang out with him. I mean, God, this was over 20 years ago when we were both like, God, 19, 20 years old. Like we used to hang kind of in the same
6 years
circles.
ago.
So 6 years ago. So it was like a nice reunion, just 4 years later at the time, but no, it's wild. It's wild. Like we used to party and hang in the same circles and then cut to many years later, and then to like work together and see each other as grown adults and just like, yo, we grew up. What happened?
It happens to us all.
Yeah. All right.
Was there a genuine, was there a genuine silver lining for you making the movie? Was there something like, oh, was it the fact that you got to do a Christmas movie like you wanted, or was there something like getting to see Leavenworth? Like, was there something specific that was the silver lining to tie it into our show's theme?
For me, I think, it definitely was. It definitely was being able to, cross off the Christmas holiday movie off my list. Like I would still love to do, one on a bigger level, like on a more of a box office level. Sure. But yeah, I mean, they say you've made it when you actually get a holiday film on Lifetime or Hallmark, you know what I mean? Because at some point, literally, if you even look at some of the A-listers, now it's like a lot of them, believe it or not, back in the day, look at their resumes, but before they were who they were, they've, so like, it's kind of it's a sign of like, well, I must be a veteran because it's, that's on my resume now. But yeah, I mean, that's that's always kind of a secret little like, wow, okay, I got to check that off because
well, that's the thing, accidentally or on purpose, people are going to stumble across these movies. You're wrapping presents, you're baking cookies, you're doing whatever. You just let it out, let it just keep, next title up. These movies come on and
even when you're traveling, I was in Scotland a few years back and my God, they show like all around the world internationally, they show these holiday films, the Lifetime, the Hallmark movies everywhere. So it's, Lifetime, especially, they're actually, the network itself is actually one of the most like biggest and successful networks globally because they show all these kinds of movies overseas. So it's kind of crazy how, it gets seen everywhere.
I also think there's a brilliance to being in a holiday movie because it's like a yearly. So every year people are going to rewatch these. So like that's just smart as an actor to have a movie that's why like I also just think if people write movies, you just put a date in there. You get all the like just mention a random day or whatever. You get that like day set aside that people are going to rewatch it every year. That's the trick.
Yeah, it's actually cool. My on Sunday morning, one of my nieces texted me. And she texted me a picture of, the beginning opening credits of Cloudy with a Chance of Christmas. She was like, look what I'm watching. Bundled up with her dog. It was really cute. And I was like, it was so sweet. And I'm like, oh, it's on. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I had no idea. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah. At some point it's in that rotation. Like it's going to hit every year. No, that's cool. Like, I actually think that is a great thing.
Like you constantly stay on people's radars, because you're going to see them every year. Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything we haven't mentioned yet that before we wrap up that you want to mention or?
For any reason, any actors or aspiring actors out there who are watching, like right now, I'm sure as you guys know, and maybe you've discussed with other actors, but it's been a wonky time in the entertainment industry, from the pandemic and then the strikes. It's been a really wild, interesting time. And as someone who is a 31-year veteran and who has seen this industry evolve in ways that newer actors who've only been doing this for 5-10 years can't even begin to imagine, in comparison to what I've to what I've experienced and to how I've seen this industry change. And as someone who has seen it all, done it all, been through it all, and then some, to see where it is now is, just keep showing up and weigh it out. Don't give up. Do not give up. Don't think that, okay, well, now that the industry model is totally changed and, there's a lot of different elements involved as to why. It's just not busy right now for actors. It's just not, unless you're Tom Cruise or unless you're a big name, there are most of us working class actors, like nobody's working. And you're not alone. If you are one of those actors, you're not alone. There's nothing wrong with that. And that the industry will eventually level out. I don't think we're ever going to go back to where we were, to the normal. What people say, I can't wait for it to go back to normal. I think there's going to be a new normal. And so, let go of any expectations right now. Keep doing what you love. Don't give up. Don't stop. Actors, you don't need to start moving back home. You don't need to give up. But rather instead, fill your life. Do other things that you enjoy. Don't make acting your whole life. If you want, like I have a co-career that I loved just as much as I love acting, and I'm thriving in that career too. So therefore, I can still earn a living and make good money, and that still supports my acting career at the same time. So it's like actors do that. The smartest thing you can do is do everything that you love and that fulfills you, and don't make your focus just solely acting. That is the fastest recipe for just to doom your career.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
For that. I think that's important.
Aspiring actors should heed that advice for sure, because it comes from a place of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of actors right now. Everywhere. I can't even begin, especially in Los Angeles. It's almost every conversation that comes up, and God bless them. There's a lot of them that are really discouraged. And, it's not just newer actors. It's also a lot of veteran actors who were just series regulars, a year, 2, 3 years ago. I was a recurring regular on Cruel Summer season 1. That was just 2, 3 years ago. It was a number one rated show. And to go from that, and then all of a sudden, like the industry just shut down. It's been tough for a lot of actors, no matter what level or where they are in their career. But things will get better, and I think we need to let go of any old ideals of it going back to a normal. I think we're going to have a new and different normal. Yeah.
No, I think that's as good a place as any to leave it. Thank you so much for doing this. Like, I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you guys so much. And then we'll have our next meeting for Bloody with the Chance of Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's happening. No, for sure. We're
that's in the book.
This.
That's already good.
Yeah. As far as I've
write the script tonight, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, we'll have an outline to you by the weekend.
Perfect. Perfect.
I plan on telling everyone, star attached. Like, we've definitely, this is as far as I'm concerned. Like, we're green lights all the way on this. This is
totally. That's so fun. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was a blast, and I'd love to do it again sometime.
Oh yeah, you are invited back anytime for sure.
Yeah.
Also, could you give me a ride home, because I live right above Olympic?
Oh yeah, you know what? I'll be there. My friends are actually on their way over. You mind riding in the trunk, because there's going to be like 3 people in the back, and is that okay?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, as long as I
can pick you up.
Yeah, as long as I'm rolling with the homies.
Silver Linings Playback is a production of HoboTrashcan.com. If you enjoyed the show, please rate or review it on Apple Podcasts. Hear more great shows on the Peak Sloth Podcast Network.